Yo, what's going on, Crunch Gang? Welcome back to another episode of that Jsqwagger CrunchTime, a Jsqwagger podcast. So wrong. We are on episode 6. It has been a great journey so far with these podcasts. So far, I've really enjoyed doing them, and it seems like you guys enjoy them as well. So I plan to keep doing them. Like I said, these podcasts for me are kind of, instead of writing in like a journal, which I still do, but instead of writing in a journal, I kind of document just my progress throughout life so that other people are able to learn as well and grow with me. As you can see, this isn't my normal podcast setting. I did shoot my last podcast here just because it was more people, but then I just thought to myself, like, it's more vibey like this. You know what I mean? Like I can lay down and talk to y'all on my therapy type beat, you know what I'm saying? Or really I could like get up and rant to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Get up and walk around. I'm also, my microphone is on my MacBook. I had my other microphone, but it just didn't sound too well on this MacBook. So we're just going to go with the MacBook microphone. But for the first time ever on Jsqwagger CrunchTime, on the Jsqwagger podcast, I have what I want to talk about. Yo, I got notes. I got my notes on here. But what I want to talk about is faith. I want to talk about feeling like a burden. And I want to talk about sacrifice this episode. I think I'm mainly going to dive deeper into faith. I don't know. We'll see as the podcast goes. But before, we go into depth with anything, if you're new to the podcast, welcome. These podcasts are for me kind of places where I can go to and rant and basically tell y'all how I've been feeling within the past, however long it's been since my last podcast, in ways I've improved on those negative thoughts and feelings. That way, because I feel like a lot of people can relate to stuff that I go through. And so I want to be able to help y'all in any way that I can, while also helping myself. So I do this because of that. If you're new, which I bet, some of you are, and if you're returning, go ahead and like the video. And if you're new, go ahead and subscribe because I'm going to do a lot more of these. And don't think this is just a podcast channel. I got some gaming videos as well on the way. And if you want to see more gaming videos and gaming content from me, go ahead and go follow my Twitch. I'll link it down in the description, or go ahead and go follow my other channel where I upload Twitch highlights over there. And I'll be a lot more active on those two platforms than this one. This one is my main channel, but I'll be more active on those. And so without further ado, what I want to start with in this podcast is feeling like a burden. There was a moment yesterday where I had lost something. I lost something, or I thought I lost something expensive. And for some reason, the first thing on my mind was, I'm tired of feeling like a burden to the people around me, which is basically just my family, but I'm tired of messing up and I'm tired of letting my family down, because to me, I'd felt like my family had made so many sacrifices and done so many things in their life for me to be able to be where I'm at, and yet I'm still messing up and making foolish mistakes that could have easily been avoided had I just made the right decision. And I didn't, obviously, no one means to lose anything, and obviously I didn't mean to lose anything, so it wasn't like I was truly blaming myself for losing something. It was just another thing added on to the list that I felt like could have been avoided had I just not lost an item. And it's not even me losing the item that I want to get into. It's the fact that my first thought was feeling like a burden. I think that thought and feeling is an underlying emotion that is caused by things that I felt throughout my entire life. It's crazy how we can have people in our lives that like want the best for us. And I'm just speaking from my experience, but that want the best for us and that will do anything for us. And as soon as we mess up, we feel undeserving of the things that they'll do for us. And for me, it was crazy because it was just like, in that moment, literally just in that moment, like beforehand, I never even really thought about that. Not in general, but I just wasn't thinking about that. But in that moment to myself, I was like, I feel so undeserving of everything that my family is willing to do for me if I can't even not lose an item. And it's crazy how that one thing will change your entire mindset. What helped me out with that is knowing family is forever. That is one thing that is always going to be there in your life. Whether it's, siblings, mom, whether you have your own family, whether you start your own family, family is going to be forever no matter what. And so for me, what helped me out with that is knowing that I have a very supportive and loving family. And I know not everyone is blessed to be able to have, a loving and supportive family, which that'll tie into something else in a second. But if you truly feel as if you do, when you get into moments like that, it's okay. It truly is okay to mess up. And I gotta understand that myself, that it's okay to mess up. At such a young age, at 19, I feel as if I have to have everything figured out and I need to be kind of the perfect person and not mess up in areas that I feel like I can improve on. But it's just gonna happen in life. We're all gonna mess up. None of us are perfect. Obviously, when you see your parents or when you see people older than you, your older siblings, parents, teachers, and stuff like that, you don't think to yourself that they have places in life or, you know, shorts in life or shortcomings in life that they ever mess up in. But they definitely do. Let me tell you, they definitely do. We all mess up. It's how you recover from messing up. It's how you deal with messing up. It's how you come back from messing up. And I'm reading a book right now called Courage. I believe it's called The Courage to Be Disliked. And in that book, it talks about how we put so much value on how other people perceive us that we lose our own perception of ourselves. And I felt like I definitely went through that at a stage in my life, and I still feel like I'm trying to learn and grow from that. But even when it comes to a simple thing like losing something, in my head, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my family's gonna think of me like this. They're gonna stop helping me. What's the use? I'm thinking to myself that my family's gonna be like, what's the use? Why keep helping him if he keeps messing up? And that might have not even been reality. I was so sure in my head that the situation was gonna go a certain way that I wasn't even facing reality. All I had to do was calm down and look for the item, which I found, by the way. I didn't even lose it. I just put it where I was supposed to. I just, for some reason, never look where I'm supposed to. But I had for sure just made this reality up that was how the reaction was going to be. And, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But it's crazy how we do that in our minds. And I know a lot of y'all do that as well, because I know I'm for sure not the only one. When it comes to just a broader stance, and I got to tell myself this every day too, live in the moment and live in reality. When I lost that item, I wasn't living in reality. I was living in my head and saying, this is what's going to happen because I lost an item that I should have kept. Instead, I should have told myself, okay, let me take a break. Let me look for this item a little bit more. Let me calm down. And if I can't find the item, then let me go to my family about it. Not even think about what my family's reaction is going to be. Just let me go to my family about it. Same thing could be applied to so many situations. Another example of that is when I changed, and I'll be as transparent as possible with y'all for sure. When I changed my hairstyle, I'm going to change my hairstyle a lot, but when I changed my hairstyle, in my head, I had so many ideas and thoughts of how people were going to react, and they reacted the complete opposite. Because it's like, we cannot predict how people are going to react to things. Only thing we can do is control how we're going to react to the things around us, which is, hence why I say live in the moment. You know what I mean? And so to tie back into my first statement, which was feeling like a burden, I think a lot of us have trouble letting things go. I wouldn't even say we're scared of letting things go. I feel like a lot of us just truly don't know how. I truly believe that we really want to. And I know some people want to and are scared to let things go. And I know a lot of people, like a lot of us, truly just don't know how. And I am still trying to figure it out myself. I've been trying to read more, meditate a lot more, understand myself a lot more, and taking time to just think to myself about why I think the way I do and why I make certain decisions, and getting better at some of the habits and getting better at bad habits. I truly feel like a lot of us just don't know how to let things go. And for me, it was feeling like a burden. I'm not sure how to let go of feeling like a burden to the people around me. I can only try so hard to do the best I can, but for me in my head, which maybe you guys can relate to this, is that like my brain always tells me that I can be more. It always wants to be more. It always wants to do more. It always wants to be better and be more perfect and be closer to perfection than it was the day prior. But as soon as I have a shortcoming and as soon as I mess up, my brain immediately goes to the other spectrum. It immediately goes to, I'm a failure. I feel like a burden. The people around me work too hard for me to fail. And I find that so interesting. I don't find it a bad thing, though. I don't. Because one, it shows me truly that, we care about the people around us. We do. And obviously, we want to be the best for people around us. So first, I would say that, that is not a bad way of thinking, because a lot of people will mess up and not care. A lot of people will allow themselves to snowball down a mountain and not care about the effect that it has on themselves and the people around them. So first, I would say that that's a good way of thinking. It's a good way of knowing that you care about the people around you and you want to improve. Now, the second thing I would say on how to not feel like that is something that I'm still trying to figure out myself. It really is. That's again why I say life is such an amazing, life is so amazing when you're truly living it to learn. When you truly feel as if you haven't had everything figured out, when you stop getting complacent, when you want to continue to learn and grow as a person, is why I feel like life truly is just so amazing in that aspect. Hopefully, I can go into the next episode of the podcast and tell you guys ways to help of feeling guilty or feeling like a burden in your life, but you're not. Trust me, you really aren't. I know a lot of the times it's hard to see the light in certain situations, but there's light at the end of your tunnel. I promise you. As long as you continue to, if you're watching this video right now, I know you want to improve and I know you want to better yourself. So in that aspect, give yourself a round of applause because you are doing more than so many people right now. And that's not to say be prideful and, act like you're better than everybody else, but that's just to say that you are doing better than you were yesterday. You're still here. You didn't see this video yesterday. You didn't watch this video yesterday, but you're here going to a YouTube video to help yourself improve. That's amazing. If it's something that you weren't doing before, you are taking the initiative and you're taking a step to improve, bro. That is so amazing, and I'm proud of you guys. But that is the first thing on my list that I wanted to talk about, just how recently I've just felt, not even recently, just how that moment changed my perspective on how I saw myself with other people. And now I want to truly go deeper into that. And so I want to come back to you guys. I promise I'll come back to you guys with an update on how I've dived deep into that. But the next thing I want to talk about is sacrifice. I want to reflect on my life just because it's easier for me to speak on it. And I also want it to be a little bit more relatable in that aspect because I can't really speak on people who aren't here. But sacrifice. I've recently, and I was just thinking about this at work, that where I'm at in life, because I've improved so much within these last 3 years, for some reason, I feel the need to start over. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel the need to start over all my relationships, to start over everything that I've built so far, and not even create a new person, but just not associate myself with the person I was before. I don't know if any of you guys feel the same way, but I feel because I truly wasn't myself for the last 3 years, and because I fabricated so many moments in my head and fabricated so many relationships, for some reason I feel the need to just be like, all right, well, those relationships wouldn't be the same had I been my true self, so what's the point of keeping them? And that's so odd to me why I think that way. Because it's like, you're supposed to grow in relationships. But I don't tell myself that. So I'm going to tell y'all that you're supposed to grow in relationships. If you feel the same way I do in that aspect, that you're supposed to grow in relationships. But when it comes to sacrifice, I know that a lot of us are scared to sacrifice the things that we feel make us temporarily happy or give us temporary joy. Complacent is a word that I feel that I'm going to be using a lot in these podcasts. Because a lot of us are complacent. A lot of us have gotten to points in our life where we feel as if we are okay with the people around us, as if we are okay with what we're doing in life, as if we are okay with how we treat people, and we have this vision of where we want to be in life, but we're like, well, I'll get there when I get there. Well, I'll do it when I do it. Well, I'll get rid of this person in my life when I feel like getting rid of them. But deep down, deep down, we truly know what we need in life. And we truly know that we need to improve in some aspect. And I know a lot of us get complacent in that. And so when it comes to sacrifice, we got to be ready to sacrifice things, bro. We got to be ready to let go of certain people who are toxic. And they are good people in our lives, right? Let me give an example. I knew a person who wasn't a bad person, was never rude to me, never put me in a bad mood, but they would love to gossip all the time. And as they gossiped, I found myself gossiping as well. And I found myself talking down on people, one who weren't even there to defend themselves, but just talking down on people. And as I started talking down on people, I started feeling prideful within myself. I started feeling better than the person who I was talking down on. And I started feeling like that person who I was talking down on wasn't going to get far in life. But that was simply because I kept being around the person who loved to gossip. Again, they weren't a bad person, but I knew that I didn't want to gossip. And I knew that I felt prideful, and I knew pride wasn't a good thing for me. And I knew that I didn't want to continue to keep talking down on people. But that person to me was a friend. That person to me was truthfully at the time, I'm not joking with y'all, at the time was the only person who I felt comfortable enough with to talk to at the time. Like to truly sit down one-on-one to talk to. And so getting rid of that person in my life would have left me alone. What's crazy is two things. I'm gonna say two things about this. What's crazy is one, I felt more alone with them than after I got rid of them. And that's because I found myself. I felt alone because I didn't feel like I could find myself, and I didn't feel like I could work towards truly being myself and loving myself. But after I let go of them and, other situations in life, I felt so much less alone. But to go back on what I was saying before was they were the only person I talked to. They weren't a bad person, yet I felt like it was so hard to get rid of them. I felt like I truly just couldn't because one, I felt like, again, going on back to what I was saying, which was don't care what people think kind of thing, and kind of live in reality that I thought that if I got rid of them, they were going to think of me a certain way. They were going to think like, oh, he doesn't like me. He thinks poorly of me. When it's like, no, sometimes it doesn't even matter if people think like that. Even if they do think like that, sometimes it really don't matter, bro. You got to let people, especially if they're not people you want to continue with throughout life, you got to let people have their opinions, bro. People going to have their opinions. It was so hard for me to sacrifice and lose that relationship because I felt like in that moment it was all I had. But I knew that in that relationship, I wasn't the best person that I could possibly be. And we should all love ourselves enough to try and be the best people we can possibly be. Luckily, I didn't really have to get rid of them. We kind of just separated because we went our separate ways. But that's just to say that, like, sometimes sacrifice is one of the best decisions that you can do in life. Whether it's people around you, whether it's habits you have, drinking, smoking, partying, not working on yourself, being lazy, whether it's mindsets that you have, negative mindsets, again, gossiping, talking down on people, being prideful, thinking that you're over somebody else, thinking that you're better than other people, whether it's, again, even just bad habits, being on social media, playing too many games, eating unhealthy, not exercising. We all know that it fills in this temporary joy. We all know that it fills in, like, is it serotonin? Is that the word? I've been trying to think of the word that's like the temporary joy. I feel like it's serotonin. I can look it up though. Okay, it is. It is serotonin. But we all know that there are certain things in life that we would like to get rid of that fill in this temporary serotonin. And we're scared to get rid of it because we feel as if we can't find other joy and serotonin. I'll just say joy for now. That we can't find other joy if we get rid of that thing. But we really can, bro. We really can. An example that I can give with that, which I feel like a lot of people deal with, is social media. Social media for me in my life filled in times where I was bored, times where I didn't have anything to do, times where I wasn't working or listening to music or exercising or walking and doing things. Social media was just a time filler. It was literally just a time filler, bro. If you watch anime, right? For y'all who watch anime, would you ever just sit down and watch filler episodes? Like, truthfully, if you were interested in getting to the plot of your anime and getting to the best parts of your anime, would you just sit there and waste 3, 4, 5 hours on fillers? Or would you rather use those 3, 4, 5 hours on the actual episodes? A lot of us are gonna say the actual episode because it's like, why are we just sitting there watching filler? But we should be doing the same things with our life, bro. If we truly want to improve in our life, we shouldn't be sitting here with fillers. We shouldn't be sitting here filling our times with temporary fillers, bro. We shouldn't be sitting around. Same thing can be applied when it comes to life, bro. And that's why I brought up the social media thing, because for me, I used social media just when I was super bored, or not even just super bored, just when like I wanted to just watch mindless entertainment. I would just go like this for hours at a time. And you know what? I'm gonna actually pull up what is my social media. I have screen time on here, and I'm gonna pull up what my social media thing is. 'Cause like I said, I want to be transparent with y'all. For me, my social media in total, I don't know if y'all can see that from here, but I'm gonna just tell y'all: Instagram 17 minutes, Snapchat 13 minutes, TikTok 6 minutes for the entire day. For the entire day, we'll go for the week too. This week, I've spent 1 hour and 54 minutes on social media. This entire week. That is 2 hours out of my week on social media. I definitely want to. I want to get that number lower down to 1 hour and then lower down to 30 minutes for a week. Because I know a lot of the time I wasn't doing anything, bro. I was literally sitting there, and I know a lot of y'all do that too. And I'm gonna go back into what I was saying before. I just gotta rant a little bit, but I know a lot of y'all do that too. I know a lot of y'all go on social media not even knowing what to do, and y'all will just sit there staring at the screen for like 2 minutes, not even knowing what you're finna look at. Y'all are just mindlessly swiping. And so to go into say is that like there are things that we need to sacrifice in life to better ourselves. And I know we get complacent, and again, I know we lose track on where we want to be in life, but it only starts today, bro. It really does. The future that we want starts today. And I've heard that saying before, like the future that you want starts now or starts today. And I never understood that because I was like, no, the future starts in the future. Like, I'll become a better person when I become a better person. But how am I going to become a better person if I'm not making those decisions now? I see that a month in August, when I was helping myself improve mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, I didn't know where it was going to lead me. I was really just doing it blindly, and I was just trying my best to better myself. And I've gotten to this point now in January, which is 9-ish months maybe. And so I never know where I'm going to get in life, and I never know what I'm going to get out of it. I don't know what type of joy I'm going to get out of it, but I had to sacrifice time. I had to sacrifice hanging out with people. I had to sacrifice. I love playing games, bro. I do. And I had to sacrifice playing games with people or even by myself to better myself or to work towards my career. I've had to sacrifice relationships. I've had to sacrifice times on social media. I've had to sacrifice certain habits and mindsets that I had to continue bettering myself. And for me, I'm not saying this will work for everybody. I'm not sitting here telling you that I have my life figured out or you should live your life based off of how I live my life. I'm just here to give you guys advice in the only way I know I can, which is just through my own experiences. It has worked tremendous for me. It has worked tremendous for me. Tremendously tremendous. But I have so much more to improve on, bro. I have, what are things that I want to improve on? Mindsets that I want to change. Lust. Lust is a mindset that I want to change. I become so, not as much now, but social media has changed my mind so much to think a certain way of women. I didn't realize it was beginning to be a problem. I think I was watching a video and it said you got to look at women like they're somebody's daughter because they are. And when I heard that, it hit me. It really hit me because I wasn't looking at women like that. I really wasn't. I was looking at women from a lustful view. And that is something that I'm even struggling now with. And that is something that I'm trying to work on and sacrifice that mindset. Because, you know, and it's easy to sacrifice something. I found it easier to sacrifice something with a nice pros and cons list, bro. A nice pros and cons list. You do a little pros and cons list. You write it down. Don't do it in your head. Write it down. It's a lot better that way. And you know what? No, I'm about to put y'all on with something. Let me go grab some real quick. I'll take a picture of this paper in my hand and I'll put it up on screen. My therapist gave me this. It's called Thoughts on Trial, where you take your thoughts, and you can do this with anything, mind you. You can do this with habits on trial. You can do this with people on trial. You can do this with thoughts on trial. And it is to take your initial thought. Let's say the example that we used in my therapy was I felt undeserving of certain things. And then this example was a vacation. And so we took evidence for me being undeserving was I separated from my family a lot. I didn't help or spend a lot of time with my family, and I worked a lot. I felt like that was evidence for me being undeserving of a vacation, because we went on a vacation, and so that's what I felt. I felt that I was undeserving because I didn't spend a lot of time with my family. So why are they allowing me to go on a vacation? Or I separated myself at the time from my family. So why did they want me to go on a vacation? And then we do an evidence against. The evidence against that was my mom wanted me to go on vacation. So that's, clear evidence that my mom wants me to go on that vacation. And I work a lot. And so I need to be able to, rest, take a vacation. And it was used for evidence for and evidence against. And so you take in both sides, whether one side weighs more or the other, and we do the verdict. What is my truth? What is your truth? Like I said, you can do this with thoughts. You can do this with people. You can do this with habits. I've yet to do when it comes to the example I gave you with lust, but that is something that I plan to do, and I hope to come back to you guys and with that. But that is something that I did with feeling undeserving, and it helped me not feel like, oh, I'm deserving of everything good in my life, but it helped me not feel so undeserving. It really did. It really did. For me, it's worked, so I hope that you guys can take something out of that and maybe try it yourself. Back on sacrifice, that we just got to sacrifice some things in our life, bro, to better ourselves. I don't know what you guys are going through individually, but I know that we have a lot of things that we got to get through to get to the point in our life where we want to be at. And so, truthfully, and I say this because I care about everyone, I care about each and every one of y'all, and I want y'all to better yourselves, and I want us to go on this journey together, that you know what it is. And so I just ask that you allow me to be inspiration for you. I ask that you allow me to help you better yourself. I ask that you truly watch this video, take something from it, and apply it to your own life to truly help better yourself. And so on that, you know what you need to sacrifice. Be smart. If you love yourself enough, you'll do it. You will do it. So let's be smart about our decisions, and let's collectively better ourselves. Please, please, let's collectively do it. And the last thing I want to talk about is faith. I have put my faith in Jesus. I have put my faith in God, and it has changed my life drastically. Just a quick run through. I grew up in a Christian household from the ages of 0 to about, I'd say like 11. No. From the ages of 0 to like 9 or 8, I went to a Lutheran church. And to me, church was just a place where I went to see more people. I went to talk to more people and pray at the end of the day. It wasn't anything special to me. It wasn't anything that I wanted to dive too deep into. I mean, I'm an adolescent. I'm 9 years old, so it wasn't like I was paying too much attention to it. I didn't get anything from church. It was just, like I said, a place to go to meet new people. Fast forward a little bit, we talk about middle school, early high school, is when I start to separate myself from, because we switched churches, and so I start to separate myself from church. Because it was just, again, something that was surrounding myself by more people my age that I already didn't like. I didn't like the sound of sitting there reading a book, studying it to better myself. I truly did not like the sound of that. I believed in God, and I believed that there was a God, and I believed that there was heaven and hell, but I just didn't want to read the Bible and sit there and learn. Like I wasn't a big book smart person growing up. I'm still not, but I like to read a lot more because it gives me information. But I didn't like sitting down reading something and trying to learn from it. I couldn't break things down very well, but I learned that about myself, and so I've tried to better that. And so I started separating myself from church, and I just didn't like going to church. Again, not because I didn't believe in God or Jesus or heaven and hell. I just didn't like trying to learn stuff like that. And so I separated myself from church. I'd say 18 was probably the last time I really went to church. 2018, 2017 maybe. I didn't go to church for 5 years. Didn't step foot in a church. Didn't go really near a church. 2023, no, it was 2022. 2022 came around, and I got into the deepest depression and anxiety that I've ever felt in my entire life. There's a church right next to where I live, and I had nowhere to go. I felt like I had nobody to talk to. This was a place where I remember being a kid for the first time ever, seeing my mom go to a worship area and go to the bottom of the stairs, go down on her knees and pray. I remember this I have this memory so vivid, and it makes me emotional to even think about it. But I remember her kneeling down and praying, and I didn't know truly what she was doing at the time, and I didn't know what it meant to her. But I remember her doing it. And so I told myself, I was like, that's what I need to do. And so there's a church right next to where I live. I go to that church, stand at the bottom of the staircase. I didn't kneel because it was outside. It was cold. It was during the winter, dirty. But I stand there and I pray to God. I tell God that, like, I'm going through such a hard time in my life and I need to see some light. So I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm headed. Life is dragging me and I'm scared. I'm truly scared, God, and I need help. I did that for about a month and a half. No, I did that for actually a while, bro. I did that for about 3-4 months. I remember the specific instance. As soon as I walked away from the church, I felt it. I truly felt it. All my anxiety left my body. I felt it being grabbed and lifted out of my body. I truly felt it. And in that moment, I remember sending a text to my family like, I feel like my anxiety is gone, this, that, and the third. And I planned to keep going to that church and praying, just to pray. I didn't really plan on reading the Bible yet or truly giving myself up to God. I kind of just wanted to pray. But I felt like that was God showing me what he can do, vlogs and stuff like that. But I opened up my YouTube and it's nothing but videos about God. No joke. That is the only thing on my YouTube channel. I've never sat there and watched a video about God, on how to learn more about God and how to better myself. That was the only thing that popped up on my YouTube. But I felt something. I didn't know what it was, but I felt like everyone around me kind of didn't exist for a moment. And it was just me and my phone and this message from God. That's how I truly felt in that situation. That's how I truly saw that situation. And ever since then, I watched the video that was on my screen. And ever since then, I remember stepping out of that bus and that transit and being in the most peaceful state I have ever been in my entire life. Anxiety, overthinking, worried about how other people see me, worrying about how I looked, insecurity, depression, just the glow about me, just my energy itself was completely shifted. And I remember looking up at the sky and the world wasn't gray anymore. And I'm telling y'all, some of y'all again might be able to relate to this, but when I was going through those last 3 years of my life, I only remember the world being dark and gray. I don't really remember the sun. I know it was hot, but I don't remember the sun really being there. I just remember the world being gray. But I remember stepping out of that transit. I remember looking up and I saw and I felt light. It wasn't even the sun. It was just light. I felt light. I felt something bright kind of beaming down on me. Fast forward a little bit. I go and get a Bible. I start getting closer to God. I start learning more about how to be a better Christian, how to be a better person. And since then, he has relieved me of all stress, anxiety, depression, worries. He has changed my glow and my energy about me. And this was all last year, mind you. And he has given me blessings that I would have never thought I would have had. I would have never thought I would have had. He is giving me job opportunities, career opportunities that I've dreamt of my entire life. And since going to him is right when everything starts going well. This last New Year's, I was blessed to be able to go to a park and I cried for the first time in my entire life. Like, wait, I've definitely cried before, but I've never sat down and cried. Like, I've never, I don't know how to explain. I've definitely cried because I was sad, but it wasn't like I thought over my feelings and kind of cried, I guess, if that makes sense. I just cried because I was sad. But this was the first time ever where I sat down and I reflected over everything, and it wasn't like I was sad. Oh, it was, I guess I was hurt. And I was letting go of all my pain that I had felt in the last 3 years, all my depression, all the bad habits that I had, all the anxiety and overthinking. This was the first time that I ever did that. And I sat on a rock because I went to a park and I sat on a rock. And as I was praying to God and telling him, thank you for everything and I'm sorry and that he's gotten me through so much, I just started crying. And it wasn't like I was sad, but it felt like the pain was kind of relieving itself through tears and going away from my body. And I felt like God needed me to be there and to do that for me to help take a step forward in my faith. And to go into the point where I made with faith is that, this is not to force religion on anybody. I'm not here to tell you guys you're wrong for doing what you're doing. Like I said, I'm just telling you guys how my life has changed and how I've bettered myself and through what ways I've bettered myself. And through God, boy, I'm now like things that I used to find interesting, I don't care anymore. I really don't. Because they're just ways of the world and I don't really care too much. And for me, which I recently started thinking to myself was, if you believe in like an afterlife or a heaven and hell and stuff like that, and if you believe in religion, that the same way that we work out on our muscles, or the same way that we work on our brain for mental health, or the same way we work on our relationships with the people, we have to do the same thing with our spirit, bro. We truly got to do the same thing with our spirit. We got to work on our spirit. We got to heal ourselves. And if you're doing things, if you're a Christian, you love God, and you say you love God, and you're doing things that wouldn't follow that same lifestyle, you're hurting your spirit. You really are. And like I said before, we should love ourselves to want to continue to be better for ourselves, bro. We really got to be better for ourselves because we only got ourselves in this world. Obviously, we got, family and stuff like that, but ourselves are truly like the most important thing, bro. If you can't learn to love yourself, you can't expect other people to, bro. And so you can't look to other people to help better yourself. But in terms of like spiritual wise, like we got to work on our spirits. We really do. We got to work on our inside to help the outside. Because I know a lot of us are so tired of putting on a facade of who we want people to think we are instead of just being that person. But the first step in being that person is looking deep into yourself, bro. And so I put my faith in Jesus and God, and he has changed my life drastically. And he has changed my life for the better. He really has. And so I just want to go in to say that, like, God loves you all. He does. And he wants all of us to go to him. And he wants all of us to talk to him. And to truly live by his grace and his glory and by his word. If you choose not to say that's not to say you're a bad person or you're living your life wrong or anything. But that's just to say that God still loves you. God still wants the best for you. And he wants to give you all of the blessings that he has. But we just gotta make sure we're doing the best for ourselves. We really do. We gotta make sure we're making the right decisions in life. That's about all I have today on the Crunch Time. I want to thank you guys for watching this episode. This is the first time I had stuff to talk about. More gaming videos on the way, for sure. Hope you guys enjoyed this like new area. I plan to continue doing a lot more podcasts here. It's just more vibey for me, and it just feels a lot better. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. I hope to see you guys again and to talk to you guys about continue to improve. We're all doing great. We've made it to a new year. We've made it to 2024, and I hope that everyone's year is starting off amazingly. So I want to say that I love y'all. I'm going to continue praying for all you guys, and I hope that you guys continue to improve and love the people around you and love yourself. We got a lot of work to do. I want to say thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.